Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I will be talking about video games. Thought it would be fun to talk about some games I finished playing recently, some games I'll be playing next, and then get your input on games I should play in the near future. So we'll start with the games I recently played. There are no specific order. I will say it is kind of PlayStation heavy, only since I did get a PlayStation recently, so I've been playing a lot of games I've been waiting to play for a long time. And one of those games is The Last of Us. So I actually did not play this on PS4 either, so this was my first time playing the game, and I absolutely loved it. So if you're not familiar, it is a survival horror game. Very challenging at times, especially when you are fighting the clickers. That is what they're called, the enemy. But the story is really good. Again, if you're not familiar, two of the main characters are on the back here. This is Joel, and this is Ellie. So it's a really good, unique story. I did watch the show prior to playing the game. I kind of wish I would have waited, because honestly, the show really followed the game very, very closely, which isn't a bad thing. But I just wish I would have experienced the game prior to the show. But either way, it was fantastic. My only complaint was it was a little bit slow in the beginning, but once things started picking up, it definitely got much better. So, for sure, a favorite. Next up is another one I really, really enjoyed, and that is Jedi Survivor. So I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and I wasn't sure if I would enjoy Fallen Order and then Survivor, but I really enjoyed Fallen Order, so I was excited to play this one too. It's a really good continuation, and definitely challenging at times. I actually had a lot of trouble on one specific, because you could call it a boss battle. I'm not going to spoil anything, but it took me forever to beat it. And I love that you can use double lightsabers, different stances for the lightsabers. There's a lot of cool customization options. And again, just a really good story with a twist. And yeah, I'm not going to give anything away, but I really did like it, and I'm very picky with my Star Wars, so I did think this held true to the original movies. Another one I played over again, I guess you could say, is Resident Evil 4. So the graphics for this game are definitely a huge improvement from the original. And I did love the original, so I was so looking forward to playing this. And it was honestly even better than I expected. I had so much fun. Of course, it is challenging at times, but I really liked that you could parry with the knife. What else? Honestly, I don't have any complaints. I just feel like they did a good job keeping everything as good as the original. So I highly suggest it if you enjoy Resident Evil games. Another game I've been picking up here and there whenever I'm in the mood is Grand Theft Auto 5. So obviously this game is completely a different type of game than the previous ones I mentioned, and that's why I kind of like to switch it up sometimes. And I actually never played a Grand Theft Auto game until I think like a few years ago, and I just had so much fun. I never realized there was so much to do, and obviously the graphics are much better on PS PS5 compared to the Xbox 360. They're not perfect, but definitely better. Then another remaster I recently played was Dead Space. I think I've probably said this in previous videos, but I love this game. I vividly remember playing the original when I was younger and just being so terrified. But I love the story. And that's Isaac Clarke on the front, the main character. I always recommend this game to everybody, pretty much. Another game I ended up loving, and I wasn't quite sure if I would, is God of War. And I had never played any God of War game ever in my life, so this was the first one. I loved the characters. I loved the Greek mythology theme. And I just really loved the father-son bonding theme. I haven't played a game that really had that in a long time. And I just really enjoyed the vibe too. Kind of reminded me of Skyrim at times. Just one of my favorite games. But yeah, emotional, really good story. And excited to play more God of War games in the future. Next up is Bloodborne. So I am a big fan of Dark Souls games, and Bloodborne was one I had never played yet, so this was my first time. So it is a Souls game, and I really enjoyed it. Great bosses, definitely fast-paced, obviously challenging, of course. It's not my favorite Souls game, but I would say it's in the top 5. So Lies of P honestly is a top game for me in the past year. I think I have talked about it in previous videos. I was really looking forward to it coming out, and I absolutely loved it. So it is a Souls-like game. The story is unique. It is loosely based off of the Pinocchio story, so Lies of Pinocchio. And that is him right there. Yeah, I just loved how unique it was, and it was very dark, really cool atmosphere. The mechanics were great. I don't honestly have many complaints about it, if any at all. I played through it twice, so this recent playthrough was my second time. And yeah, this is another one that I just recommend to everyone. I think they are making more of these games, maybe with a new character, I think they said, for the next one. So I'm looking forward to seeing the creativity with that one. Another game I've been picking up constantly lately is Tears of the Kingdom. It just feels like I had played it so long ago, so I've just been, again, kind of picking it up before bed when I just want something a little bit more relaxing. And I love the colors on the front of this case. I'm a huge, huge Zelda fan. And it's funny, if I had to choose, I actually like Breath of the Wild more than Tears of the Kingdom. So I might replay Breath of the Wild maybe in the next year. I mean, they're both great, but I think just experiencing Breath of the Wild for the first time is very nostalgic to me, because it was just unlike any other Zelda game I've ever played. So I also played, where is it? Paper Mario. So Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door on GameCube is one of my favorite games of all time. I just love it for so many reasons. So So when they announced they were remastering it for Switch, I was really excited. I was hoping they were keeping everything true to the original, and I think they definitely did. So here is the front, and I really like what they did with it. Just comparing the two, I think they did keep it similar to the original, which is cool. And what can I say? It was amazing playing it on Switch. It was still just as funny, great writing. What else? Very, very colorful. So again, it looked amazing. Mechanics are still great. The battle system is the same, so I was happy about that. I love the battle system for the Thousand Year Door. I like it a lot more than the Origami King game. So, yeah, they just did a great job optimizing it and making it just as fun as the original. And then another game I've been picking up pretty often for relaxation purposes is Stardew Valley. It just really is relaxing to me, and I just love the story behind the developer who created the game, all the work, all the years he put into it. So when I'm playing it, it just makes me appreciate the game even more. And if you're not familiar, this is a farming game, so you can have a house, a farm, develop relationships. But honestly, there are so many things you can do. It's definitely not boring. And honestly, I feel like it's a game anyone can play. My mom actually just started playing it recently, and she loved it too. Again, it's just kind of a chill, relaxing game. So I always recommend people to pick that one up too. And then another game I recently played through was Ocarina of Time on the 3DS. So this is one of my favorite Zelda games of all time, on the N64 of course. And this was my second time playing it on the 3DS, and I actually really like playing it on the handheld. So I do recommend it to anybody who's interested. Of course, it just brings back so many memories replaying it. Probably replay it so many times in my lifetime. It's just a special game to me. And I think I want to replay Twilight Princess soon. That is a game I wish they would bring to Switch someday. And if it does happen, you will definitely know, because I will be freaking out. So I think that's everything I've played recently. Now coming up soon. So I think this video will be posted after I've already started the next game. But I did post a poll the other night asking if I should play Spider-Man next, God of War Ragnarok, or Red Dead Redemption 2. I think I am going to move forward with Red Dead Redemption 2, so I'm excited. I've heard things about that game for so long, and it's just been something on my list for a really long time, so I'm looking forward to that. And then, of course, the Elden Ring DLC. Elden Ring is one of my favorite games, my favorite Souls game for sure. And I know a lot of people are so afraid of these games because they're challenging, but I just feel like that's what makes it fun. And with this one, you can do so many things. It's open world. The weapons, the armor, amazing. Bosses are really cool. Cool open world map. so much to explore. And now anyone who is a fan of this game has been waiting, I think it's like over 2 years now, for the DLC, so everyone's excited. There's been a lot of speculation and anticipation. And again, you can do whatever you want. So if you want to go find the best weapon early on, be overpowered, you can do that. You can find really cool armor sets. The opportunities are endless, so I highly recommend picking up this game. It's the perfect time. You can play this and then the DLC and not have to wait. And now some future games I want to play. So definitely God of War Ragnarok, definitely Spider-Man, the Miles Morales game. And then I have a few others. Let's see, Ratchet and Clank. It's not like a typical type of game I play, which is why I want to try it out. Let me know if you played this, if you have any suggestions or tips. Probably be playing in the next few months. And I've never played a Ratchet and Clank game, so this will be my first time. So super excited about that. One other thing I'm super excited about is Doom: The Dark Ages. That will not be coming out until next year, but if you're a Doom fan, I'd love to know if you're also excited. It looks really, really cool, so I'm looking forward to that. I always love talking games with all of you, so if you have any suggestions of other games I should play soon, let me know in the comments. And I really appreciate your advice, and of course, thank you for watching this video. So take care, and I will see you in the next one.